Hey everyone, the Motley Patriot here, or the Motley Patriot. Anyway, very busy day on Capitol Hill on Wednesday, and as it turns out, there's going to be a meeting in Fairfax, Virginia of the MUFON, the local MUFON Society. And in case you wonder what MUFON stands for, it's not a French pastry. What does it stand for?
The Mutual Unidentified Flying Objects.
Mutual Unidentified Flying Object Network. Interestingly, so one of the things that a lot of folks spoke of is sort of like this vehicle for reporting sightings. So one of the things about MUFON, and I just found this out today, is that they actually have field investigators. So as long as a crime has not been committed, you can contact a MUFON organization, and their organization is really made up of a lot of retired Air Force and military and scientists. So they actually have a pretty well-stocked or a bevy of talent. If you come across something that you think is worth investigating, you know, I always say take nice camera pictures and make sure you don't have a 1972 Casio flip phone when you're taking pictures like most of this stuff seems to be. It's like, well, it's a little blurry. All I had was my 1972 Casio flip phone. It's like, okay, you just got disqualified, you goofball. Yeah, but you know, you got iPhones, you got Androids, you got Pixels. I mean, these cameras, you know, keep your best camera ready. But anyway, and you know, if you have to take notes when you come across something, you know, find some landmarks, see if, oh, wait a minute. I think the aliens are trying to stop me from talking. Anyway, with contaminants. But there is actually a vehicle for and I think MUFON's been around since the 60s. And I always kind of thought, oh gosh, it's a bunch of hippies talking around going, hey man, how's your hippie flying saucer world going, dude? Actually, it's pretty well stocked with some smart folks. So anyway, we are going to the MUFON meeting today, and we're hoping to get some interviews and talk to some folks there. I've been to one of them with the boss, and surprisingly, you know, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes, you know, it's like any committee meeting. There's a lot of people doing committee things, but eventually it gets down to meat and potatoes. So, but today should be a really interesting meeting after Wednesday. So I'm pretty sure they're all going to be like dressed up in palm dusters for their first date. You know, this is kind of one of those things. All of them gathering around the water cooler cackling. Yeah, it should be interesting because, you know, a lot of substance came out on the Hill. So I think if you take a moment to look at some of my videos, I have some really solid interviews. I've got the gal that wrote for the New York Times article on the Tic Tac release. We've got an interview of Randall Nickerson, who actually was investigating a very widely observed phenomenon in the early 90s in South Africa. And he goes back and sort of revisits it. There was actually a Harvard psychologist that debriefed all these kids. He was a child psychologist, and he interviewed all these kids in this schoolyard who had seen a UFO and followed best practices for sort of kind of trying to work his way through, was it a bunch of kids just making things up, you know, sort of following, was it mass hysteria? But the Aerial Phenomenon movie, it's on Amazon. We checked it out. It starts off a little slow, but you know, you gotta set the stage. But if you bear with it, it gets pretty good, and it revisits a lot of these folks when they're older, these kids that were actually there. So, you know, it's a really, really nice interview with Randall, super guy. And I highly recommend you go watch the Aerial Phenomenon movie. It's interesting because, you know, they're talking about actually having a committee with subpoena power to investigate this. So this should be interesting moving forward. I think this UFO, UAO, LMNOP, NGPTIA, I think it's got legs under it. And I think if you keep yourself in there, hell, if nothing else, it's entertaining, but you might get a little educated. And collectively, I guess if we're all looking for it, and maybe you see something, you know. But like I said, you can reach out to your local MUFON organization if you see something that you think is the genuine deal and you've got some substance. They have a protocol for investigating it, and they have, you know, best practices. So, you know, these are smart folks. But stay tuned. We hope to bring some nice interviews. Oh yeah, we also got the interview on the from the week of what was that pilot? It's Chris Lido. And Chris gives a lot of background on what the conversation is. So you get a lot of information from Chris Lido. You get a lot of information from Randall Nickerson. And then we've also got the interview with Leslie Keene, the journalist for the New York Times. So those are on the UFO playlist. If you go down to my YouTube, it's the first playlist. There's like 11 videos there. And a lot of them are short and sweet, anything from, you know, 45 seconds to 10 minutes. The interviews are worth the watch. And, you know, share them, get them out there. We definitely want to keep pushing this conversation. You know, on the Hill, they wouldn't allow access to the skiff to talk about the information that a very well-regarded investigator, who was actually part of an internal investigation on the back end of this whole Tic Tac thing, and trying to sort of get a little bit more transparency through the chain of command. I mean, after all, Congress is funding these military endeavors, and you know, even Chris Lido goes on to say he infers that maybe the military is out of control. So, you know, that's the dilemma with black budgets and top secret. We know it's important that we have those for all the right reasons, but power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. So anyway, something to think about. Motley Patriot here, the Motley Patriot. We hit 500 subscribers, which is really nice. Our numbers are up this week. And, you know, even if you're into the UFO stuff, if you go through my list, got a lot of nice history, a lot of content, different categories. A lot of it's organized on my playlist. So if you find anything you like, let me know. We're halfway to monetization. Really looking forward to that first check for $3.29. Woohoo! Anyway, we'll see though. If you like I said, if you like any of the content, please go out there and share it with your friends. Have a beer on me. Motley Patriot. Stay tuned. Good stuff coming today.